All right, we are live. Hi, everyone. My name's Naomi Hartle, and I'm part of the Phys Ed Summit Phys Pedagogy team. And this is my third Phys Ed Summit session today, so I'm very excited to be here with Mark and Becky. I've done a little bit with Breakout EDU myself, and I'm excited to hear more about what they're doing and what they're going to share. But just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. I'm sitting down right now because my other two sessions I did dance. I was moving a lot, and so we're going to just try and keep it safe and just sit this time instead of hitting my foot in a box. So I just want to say welcome to the Phys Ed Summit. If this is your first session, your fifth session, your eighth session, how many sessions we've had going on, we appreciate you joining us. If this is an archive session that you're watching back after the fact, and it's not August 26, 2017, and it's in the future, thank you for coming back and checking out this webinar. This one is, I think, going to be a session that people are going to go back and watch a ton. So thank you for joining us. If there are any tech issues for any reason, please just be patient with us. We will get all the information in the Tozzle and keep you posted on what's going on. If you are watching this currently in YouTube, please go to physpedagogy.com. Go to our conference program on the Phys Ed Summit tab. In the conference program, there will be a session title. Click on that Tozzle link, and that link will take you to the Tozzle page. And the Tozzle page should have the video you're watching, as well as a chat box and all the different resources. So whenever you hear us say Tozzle, it's T-O-Z, or sorry, I'm Canadian, T-O-Z-Z-L or T-O-Z-Z-L, depending on where you're from in the country, or I guess in the world, I should say. You can go to tozzle.com, and that's where you'll get it. So if you hear us saying Tozzle, that's what we're talking about. We do have a little back channel happening right now. There's a whole bunch of people jumping in. So we're super excited to have you all here. Just a reminder that I will post the link to the badges as well. So this is your first session. Here's the link. I'm posting it right now and I'll press enter right away. And then let me just make sure I'm saying everything. Oh yes, at the very end, we are giving away one of two subscriptions to the premium version for 1 year of Flipgrid. So if at the very end of the session you do a quick little Flipgrid video, you have 90 seconds to create the video and just reflect on what you learned in the Breakout EDU session here, maybe how it's going to affect your students and how it's going to impact your students. Let us know about that, share it out, and we will enter you for to win a potential subscription, a year subscription. So we just want to say thank you to Flipgrid for sharing that with us. We're really excited. Okay, Mark and Becky, I will pass it over to you. I will stop talking, and I'll mute myself now, and then I'll jump in whenever you need me to jump in.
Great. Hey, everybody. This is, I have to say, a shout out to the Phys Pedagogy team. This day has been unbelievable. I've had the opportunity to attend Phys Ed Summits in the past, and they never disappoint. And this is just another fantastic day going on once again. My name's Mark Fullmer, and I want to introduce my wife. This is Becky, Becky Fullmer, and she is a national authorized trainer for Breakout, and she's been a teacher for 35 years in math and computers, although she does have her background in physical education. She has both her bachelor's and master's degree in physical education, and taught in Downers Grove for that period of time, and is actually now working in my school district as an instructional coach. She finished up her career in Downers as an instructional coach, and is now in our school district doing that same job.
And this is my husband, Mark. And Mark is a middle school physical education teacher at Wentworth Junior High in Calumet City. And he also is the Northeast District of the IHPERD's president. He is on a whole bunch of committees in both the Midwest shape level and the national shape level. So he's a very, very busy person, and he's kind of constantly doing. So we don't have a lot of spare time.
We want to get going as quickly as we can. The first thing I'm going to mention to you is Breakout. Some people that may have never heard of Breakout, let's just think about an escape room. If you've heard of an escape room where you're trying to solve various puzzles to gain access to clues to help you get out, this is the educational version of it. Breakout, in this situation, you have the opportunity to do both digital as well as a box and locks Breakout, where once again you are trying to solve puzzles that will help you gain access to information to help unlock locks.
Okay, so we're going to screen share here and kind of get this thing rolling. So sorry about the craziness.
Yeah, I like to call that tunnel vision. I don't know why that happens.
Let's get back to the beginning here. We had a little issue when we were first starting up, so we got to get ourselves all straightened out here. Obviously, we've sort of introed. I actually am going to ask that rather than you use this link, I put the link to the presentation for all of you out there in the Tozzle. So at the very top of, not actually in the Tozzle itself, but in the chat feature. So the very first entry should be a link to the presentation. And if you guys will click that, that will allow you to have access to all the various links that you're going to need access to play. We are assuming that there are probably 3 different groups of people viewing this video. We assume we have one group who came and really want to play Breakout, and we're super excited about that. We're excited about having you play our game, and we hope you guys will participate and play. We assume there might be a second group that would just like to learn about Breakout and aren't really up for playing. That's perfectly fine as well. And then the third group would be those of you who are coming back and wanting to play or wanting to view this at a later point in time. So, but for those of you who are wanting to play, particularly, you need the link to the video because there are a number of links in there that you're going to need. And we really do want to get this going quickly because we want you guys to have enough time to play. So hopefully everybody who's interested in playing has the presentation up. We're going to be taking you through the sign up and all of the steps that you're going to need. But if you just get that presentation open in a separate tab from where you're watching right now, that would be awesome. And then we'll take you through all the steps. The very first thing we'd like to do is go ahead and show you a very short, quick video just to give you an overview of Breakout. One of the things you're going to see in this video is you're going to see a couple of elementary classrooms actually participating in a Breakout or a version of Breakout. And then you'll see a couple of typical kinds of classrooms that might be the equivalent of a health classroom. And those would be also a middle school classroom and a high school classroom. So we just wanted to give you this quick overview, and then we're going to get you guys off and playing.
So they had to use their deductive reasoning, they had to collaborate with their teammates, they had to communicate effectively.
I think it helped us understand it better. And it gave us kind of more insight on helping with like working out with the team and stuff.
I've been looking forward to this all day. I've been jumping around. Okay, we don't need these. All right. So we don't use that. Okay, then. Okay.
Let me do directional.
I got it. No,
wait, got it. Yeah.
I always look for ways to find things to help teachers engage kids and help them teach them those 21st century skills that they need to be successful and in life and beyond. And so Breakout is appealing to teachers and to students because it has them use those skills that they need, like critical thinking and problem solving and teamwork and tenacity, things that they need to be successful.
Okay.
There you go.
Flashlight comes out.
Just want to make sure we see the credits there because I utilize quite a few people's videos and I appreciate them allowing us to be able to use those. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview of what Breakout EDU is. Obviously, this one that we're going to be doing is going to be a digital breakout. What I need everyone that is interested in playing to do now is I need you to click on this link. So you should have your presentation up in a separate window and you should be able to click on this link. And if you click on this link, it's going to take you to a Google form that's going to look like this. And you're going to simply fill out this Google form. What this is going to allow you to do is to figure out how you guys can communicate with one another. So if you don't have a Voxer handle, don't worry about it. Just don't add it. Then your partner will know that Voxer is not an option. If you don't have a Twitter account, no problem. Just leave it blank. So either, in that case, we'll talk about some of the options that we have to communicate with one another. So we're just going to let this go for a little while so that we can get people paired up here. And as we see people completing the form, then we will be able to go ahead and get our teams ready to roll.
Awesome. Cool. Oh, I was just going to say, I added the link to the Tozzle chat.
Great.
Just in case people didn't click into it or they couldn't find something.
Yeah.
Because there's always something that happens where it's just not working for somebody.
Exactly right. Yep, we're getting in. And I can see a few people are going ahead a little bit in the presentation and opening it up, which is perfectly fine. I'll explain to you what you're seeing there in just a minute. The account that you are using should be a Google account because you will need to be accessing some things. So hopefully everyone put in email addresses that are connected to a Google account. And awesome. Nice. We're getting a lot of teams, so that's terrific.
Oh, that's exciting.
Just give it a little bit more time. And once we know that we pretty much have everybody in that wants to play.
So just to let you know, we have 33 viewers right now. So I don't know how many people are signing up.
Right.
Some people will play, some people won't play. But just so that we have a number as to potentially how high they could potentially go.
Yeah, we have 13, 12, let's see, 12 players right now.
Okay.
So, perfect.
That's awesome.
Cool. So, I have it filled out in case you need me to submit.
Yeah.
In case we need an extra partner.
If we end up with an odd number, then Naomi's going to be someone's partner. So we'll see if we end up with an odd number.
And we are living on the edge because this is something that's never been tried, everybody, a live breakout.
Yeah,
Ooh.
So all of you guys that are doing this, you're doing, well, we think, we're not 100%, we don't think that anyone has paired people up previously. So we're kind of excited about giving this a go. And hopefully it doesn't,
nice.
Hopefully everything, oh yeah, ooh. Awesome, getting some more. Hey, Kelly, woohoo. All right. Look at all those people.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's super exciting. Okay.
All right.
We're going to assume that we have everyone in now.
You can still sign in.
Yeah, if you want to sign in, and that would be perfectly fine. But we want to get people playing, so we are going to go ahead. One thing that I want to mention is now, if I go to this next screen, I'm going to kind of go through the directions of what we're doing to get you partnered up. Know that you will not ever have to do all of this with your students. We're only needing to do this because we're trying to do this online. So when you're in a classroom, you'll be able to walk around and see everything that you need to see. We're having to sort of come up with a way to do this that allows us to see some things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to see. So you will notice that on this slide, there is another link. And if you open that link, you're going to get to the page that's going to show who you're partnered up with. So oh, cool, we got somebody from Spain. That's awesome. Nice. So you're going to notice that now we are, you know, starting to get the rest of our partners filled in, and you're going to be able to see who your partner is. Ooh, I see Stephanie and Matt. That's going to be a tough team there. I don't know.
It's rigged. It's rigged.
I know, man. They were contacting each other and going, press submit right now.
Yeah. Right. At the same time.
Okay, so what I want to show you guys is on this spreadsheet, you have obviously the partner sheet where you can see who your partner is. And then you also have the status sheet. Now this status sheet is a very, very important sheet because this is where you guys are going to help us know how things are going. If you don't fill this out, then we're not going to know where you stand as you open locks. So what we would appreciate is if you get a lock open, please come over here, and let's say you got lock 2 open. You can get these locks open in any order. You're going to click where it says lock 2. You're going to hit an X, click out of it, or hit enter, and you're going to notice that it's going to change the color of that, and it's also going to start to graph your progress. So if I do lock 2, here we go, it's going to graph your progress. So we're going to be able to watch everyone's progress as they're going, but it'll only work if you guys come in here and actually put your X's in for us. So please, one of you, try to remember, I know you're going to get really focused on playing, but please try to remember that you need to come back here and let us know when you've opened a lock.
That'll help too as far as hints are concerned later on.
Exactly right.
So Kelly was saying how she said she missed the partner sheet. So once they submit that form, is there a link that pops up that they get, or is it emailed to them? In the Tozzle, Kelly has said, Kelly Brown, she just said, wait, I missed the partner sheet.
This is the partner sheet.
Oh, perfect, right there. Okay.
So if you go into your presentation, if you click this, that's going to allow you to get to your partner sheet to see who your partner is.
Okay, I'm just going to type that into everybody. Yeah. Rue for HQ. Okay, RUC. Oops. Make sure I give them the right one.
Yeah, and that is definitely case sensitive.
Okay. I think I'll just copy it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to paste it into the Tozzle here in case if folks, again, had issues with getting into it. Partner sheet.
And the nice thing about the chat feature in the Tozzle is that when you click a link out of there, it opens it in a new window so that it doesn't close it. Unfortunately, when you have the links down at the bottom, when you click those, it closes the Tozzle, or it opens it in the same window. So that's kind of, it's better to have it in the chat, really, because then it'll open it in a new window for us. Okay, so at this point, you guys need to start contacting each other. My suggestion would be that partner number 1 on the sheet emails partner number 2 and gives a suggestion of how you want to communicate.
When we tested this out, Amy Schneider and I tested it out, and we found that Voxer works the best. For us, it worked the best, but obviously that's up to you.
So you could use email. You could just use, email back and forth. You could use Twitter DM if you both have a Twitter account. You could use Voxer. You could just open a shared Google Doc and share it with the other person, and that would allow you to interact as well. So you really have any of those options. You could text if you're both in the United States if you want to.
I was going to say you could even phone each other.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't know what Voxer is, or if you don't know what Twitter is, just call each other.
Right. So while you guys are in the process of doing that, I do want to mention a couple of things. First of all, Mark brought up Amy Schneider, and I just wanted to mention Amy Schneider and Melissa Matthews did a session on Breakout last year at Phys Ed Summit, and we're so thankful that they did that session and kind of got the ball rolling, because it was during that session that Mark and I started thinking about, is there a way to actually play a Breakout during a session? And so this is kind of the result of thinking about that and being able to come up with a way that we thought might work. So I appreciate if everyone is patient with us here, because obviously it's a little bit of a unique situation to try to do it this way.
Just for everyone's information, if at any point in time you do need a hint, we'll grant 2 hints for each team, and just contact Becky at bfullmer@gmail.com, and then we'll be able to give you that hint. And that's why it's so important to keep up with the locks that you're working on. That gives us information. And at the end, when both of you are finished opening up all the locks, you both actually have to submit. And we're time stamping it so that we can determine who the official winner is. And that time stamp will be based on the second player of that team that turns it in. So it's the first and the second player, but the official time stamp will be when the second teammate turns in or submits their results.
Correct. All right, we're about ready to start the game. We're going to assume that you guys have started making contact or have already decided how you're going to make contact. We're going to go ahead and click forward. And at this point in time, you can see the link, and everybody who has the presentation open, you can just simply click on this link. And when you click on this link, you're going to get to the game. Now, this game I wrote with the idea in mind that I wanted something that would be as educational in nature as possible. And this would be probably a junior high to high school breakout. In fact, I will post this eventually. I'll take out the aspects that have to do with us playing this online and turn it into one that you could actually use in your classroom. I will tell you this one does not have any activity. However, most of the breakouts, pretty much all of the other breakouts that I've written, all do have activity involved, at least to some degree. Some of them have a great deal of activity. Some of them have less activity. But this one, obviously, because we're doing it in this way, does not have activity. So a few things about actually doing the breakout. Everyone should be starting to get the breakout open now. You'll notice that the first thing that it says is be sure to read and follow all directions. This is the thing that I stress the most when I do breakouts of any kind, whether it's a box and locks breakout or whether it's a digital breakout. Obviously, we're doing a digital breakout here. But if you don't read and follow all the directions, you probably will have some difficulties, and that's usually where kids and adults get hung up. There may be links, various links within this page. There may be various things that you need to read or click. And those puzzles will allow you to figure out certain of the locks. If you scroll all the way down the page, you'll notice where the locks are. Now for this breakout, because we're doing it online, I do need you to put in your first and last name, so you can actually go ahead and do that right now so that I know who it is that is submitting when you guys are all finished. And I also wanted to show you how the locks work. For those of you who've never played a breakout or don't know anything about breakout, you do need to type in whatever the combination is that you figure out from the various puzzles that you do. So I'm giving you a test lock here. The correct answer to this lock, or the correct combination to this lock, is test. If I start typing, you'll notice that it does give me a hint. It reminds me that it needs to be all caps. That notification that you see down here will not go away until you get the entire correct combination in. When you see that notification go away, you're like, yes, I got it. I'm off and running. And that's when you're going to go over to the spreadsheet and you're going to make sure that someone already got a lock. They're off and running.
You're correct. What the
They're
heck?
off and running.
Oh, we got to go. Let's go.
All right. So anyway, you guys can go ahead and enter test to get that one done. And you guys are off and running. And we're going to see you a little bit later, and we'll kind of keep watching and monitoring and seeing where you guys stand. In the meantime, we're going to do a little bit of discussion about Breakout EDU for those of you who have not, who are maybe new to it or maybe only know a little bit about it.
First of all, with Breakout, there's two different games, obviously, or tactics that you can approach this with. The lock and box, or box and locks version, which is more of a physical end of things. Lots of setup to do with something like that. And then there's the digital Breakout, and that's where you're using a device. I have my personal opinions of which I like. In school, I've used both, and I've used the box and locks with large groups, and there's a positive for that. We can get lots of activity involved with that. But my preference is actually the digital one, because I can work with smaller groups per device, 2 to 3 players per device, and that's awesome. And what's really nice is some of the digital Breakouts that we've done, we've tied it in with pedometer use. And the cool thing about that is we actually give clues based on students getting to a certain level of steps, and then we'll help them out and give another clue. And I do have to say something with all of this as we get into this slide right here. I'm really bad about when I first started Breakouts. I was really bad about helping too much, and that is just something that I do want to throw out there. You have to let the students work through things. It is challenging, and they do have to have that opportunity to at sometimes fail, but eventually get through it. I like this slide a lot because it identifies 10 big reasons for Breakout. And when I first saw it, reading through it, all 10 of those things are something that are life skills that a person will need as they continue on, whether it's in the work world or family world, in fact. But I really want to highlight challenging. Breakouts are challenging. There's communication skills that you're working on. Critical thinking and problem solving. I mean, that's a lifetime skill right there. You're working on collaboration and team building. And obviously, that's another lifetime skill. And you'll notice highlighted there with that red arrow and circled is physical education. It is included in the Breakout curriculum. And I applaud that.
So when I first started learning about Breakout EDU, I was doing it in other curricular areas. And almost immediately I thought, oh my gosh, this will be awesome in health and physical education. So we really wanted to make sure that we explained why we thought that it would be good in health and physical education. Obviously, the fact that it combines the physical with the social and cognitive skills, we just love that aspect of it. The fact that it focuses on the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And of course, we all recognize the importance of that. It also gives kids a chance to work collaboratively, and the fact that they feel such a sense of accomplishment when they are successful as a group. And then it's a new way to introduce content. We have in physical education, there's plenty of content that's super important. In the case of the game that is being played right now, they're talking about the FIT principle and talking about the components of fitness. And at some point and in some way, you have to introduce that content, and doing it through a Breakout is just terrific. It really increases your engagement level. And this is the one that was the thing that got me so excited about the idea of using it in health and PE, is just the equipment that is available in a gymnasium that you wouldn't have the opportunity to utilize or take advantage of in any other curricular area. And so I just absolutely love the fact that you guys have so much equipment and so many options, and you're already doing all kinds of team building activities. If you take those team building activities and incorporate them into creating various games, you can really come up with some awesome games. And if you guys have a chance to look at some of the games that I've created, we have lots of different physical activity style games where they're actually physically moving and doing in order to receive various clues to move them along in their learning and in being able to break out. So obviously the problem solving aspect is huge. We love the fact that kids are needing to problem solve. And this one's super important. I didn't say this to the groups that are playing right now, but I should have. And I do say this to the kids anytime that I'm working with a group on doing a breakout game. And that is, they are hard. It is supposed to be hard. So you guys that are playing right now, if you're struggling and you're having difficulty and you're not getting these, don't feel bad about it. They're supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be something that the two of you have to really think about and work together to try to figure out. It should be challenging. That's the idea of it. And when you let kids know that ahead of time, I think they really respond and react to that. Kids like challenges. So if we just let them know right up front, hey, this is not going to be easy, it will really benefit you in terms of how they react to the game. And then the follow-up discussions. The follow-up discussions are very, very important. You want to make sure that you do have the kids analyze how they behaved and their responses and reactions to the game after they completed the game. So I do want to show you, I'm going to go off of screen sharing here for just a second because I want to show you that.
While you're doing that, and I want to emphasize the reflection piece is really important because that's how you help the students grow and can work better in the future with problem solving, team building, and working on future breakouts, whether it's in physical education class or other classrooms.
So when you buy the box and locks, you actually do get this deck of cards that comes with it, and they are the reflection cards. And I just want to show you a few of the reflection cards. One of the questions would be, let me flip this so that I can see it myself. What was the most challenging puzzle in the game and what made it difficult? Another one, describe how another member of your team exemplified critical thinking. It's a great, great analytical type question for kids to really think about. What did you learn about yourself during the game? Great thing for kids to be thinking about. Really like this one. How did you make sure your ideas were heard? How did you make sure your ideas were heard? And then describe one change that you would like to make to the game. Again, it's a great way to have kids really thinking analytically. There are tons and tons of questions like these. We literally just pulled these out randomly. And I think that those reflection questions are super, super important if you really want to take advantage, the full advantage of Breakout. What I found is I had played a game with one group of students in a PE class, and 3 or 4 days later, I played again in an ELA class. And a few of those kids were in that PE class. And it was amazing how they performed differently after having played once and now playing again. They were the leaders. They were the ones that really had an understanding of how their behaviors and how their actions affected how the game went and how well they did. And it was just really, really interesting to see that. All right, I'm going to go back and continue to
I have a question for you too. Sure. How do I must have missed this when I was getting all excited about who was doing what. How do you get to the actual page with the question, with the story and the questions? I missed that.
With the
actual breakout game itself?
Yeah, with the actual game. Yeah.
So it's on. Let me go back. Did
I miss it somewhere? I was looking on the presentation. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's slide 6, I believe.
Oh, right in front of me. Okay, got it. Thank you. So for anybody that was, I'm sure somebody else was thinking that too. So I thought I'd just, let everybody know in case.
So that's how you get to the game. All right. I'm gonna zoom up here a little bit.
Ooh, we have somebody that's completed 3 locks so far.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Competition.
Let's see, what is that? Ooh, nice.
Craig and Carrie, they've been working. They've been doing a little prep. I know that. All right.
just want to share some resources, and we have included this.
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. Don't forget, if you need a hint, you can email me at bfullmer, FOELLMER, @gmail.com, and I'm happy to try to give you a hint. If you give me an idea of what it is you're working on and which lock you think it opens, that will help me to give you a hint. So if you'd like to get a hint, those of you who are playing, just go
ahead and email.
Feel free.
Just some resources, and I do want to highlight a couple of those. The Breakout EDU link there to gain some information. Chromebooks in Health and PE Breakout EDU page. We started a Chromebook page, cbhpe.org, where you can get right to a tab, I should say, in our web page that is specifically for Chromebook, or for Breakout, excuse me. And you'll see all the physical education and health breakouts that are, at least the ones that we are aware of, that are out there right now. And you can, if you scroll up, you can actually try and find them by health or physical education, and category, box and locks, or digital. And if anyone out there has written a game as well, and you would like to share that, that's what this is all about: sharing information, sharing the opportunity to grow within the classroom and try some things out. So that's why we're supplying this information as well. Then another resource out there is Jorge Rodriguez did a global phys ed voxcast on Breakout, and that is another one where you can actually hear people that have done breakouts in their school at the elementary, junior high, or middle school level, and in health, physical education, and as well as in adults or high school level.
I think we have a winner. I think we have a winner.
You do.
Yes, we do. Carrie and Craig, you are awesome.
You guys, wow, way to break
Nicely
out.
done, you guys.
That was awesome. That's record time.
Everybody else, keep
Yes.
going.
Keep going. Keep going. Yep.
Just because you want to see what the end results are. That's what
right.
That's what it's all about. So I just want to share some information on equipment that's needed to do a breakout. On the left side is the old-fashioned wood boxes that you could get through Breakout, and on the right side, their updated version right now, which is their plastic boxes. I believe the only thing that's really new on there, or different, is that 3-digit lock. That wasn't on there with the old wood version boxes, and it's now been upgraded. You can still play the games even if you have the old version of it, but there's still just, as I said, just an updated version on that. Click through here.
Yeah, this page, just if you would like to put your own box together. When I first started working with this, I had no budget. I was going to be paying for it myself, and so I was trying to find a way that I could do it a little less expensively. So this gives you the links to Amazon where you can purchase all of these items. Now, I did find that some of the things were a little more expensive there. So I actually went to Home Depot, Menards, Walmart, and I bought a few things on Amazon. So and I might have even bought something on eBay. I'm not even sure, but I bought a number of things using those different merchants, and I was able to put 2 boxes together for about the price of one. Of course, if your school district is willing to buy it, it's so much nicer to just buy the box, and it has everything in it and everything that you'll need. And now we're lucky. I think our district is going to buy us a couple of boxes, so we're pretty happy about that. On the right side, there are some digital materials. So if you do want to do a countdown, I didn't want to run a countdown while we were having the Hangout up and everything. I was afraid it would be a little too much for our machine, but you can run a countdown timer, and the kids do get a kick out of having seen that timer up there. And then the hint cards, because you can actually hand them the hint cards when you're using a box and locks game, and then they can bring you a hint card if they want a hint. And that's pretty much it there. There's just a few other resources.
When you're looking for breakout games, when you go to the Breakout website, this is just 5 easy steps to get to the games. Obviously, as it states, you do have to register, and then just in the upper right-hand corner, when you click on games, you can start that search process. Again, just sharing some search tips. I do want to point out the difference between published games and sandbox games. Published games are more established, have been played, field tested, as they say. And sandbox games, not that they haven't been played, but there might be a couple of things that are still being worked out on those particular games.
And also on the sandbox games, they don't have the video, which we'll talk about in a minute, and that makes it harder to set them up. So I would suggest if you're playing a box and locks game, if you decide you want to try a box and locks game, do stick with the published games, and you know that those are probably going to function pretty well.
All the ones on CBHPE are all good, just letting you know.
And then when you do find a game that you're interested in playing, you can just look through them. And I will encourage you that even though on the Breakout EDU website, there are not very many PE games, and we do have all the actual PE games on CBHPE, but if you go on the Breakout site, there are a lot of games there that are just team building activities. So they still would be good to use. If
you lose the gym on a day, and we all have that or experience that at some point in time, no matter what the game is, you can still work on that team building aspect of it. Sorry.
Yeah. So once you have picked out a game that you want to play, you just click on the game, and it's going to give you all the lock combinations and the setup information. Those will all be provided on the main game page. And then once you have read through that and you've kind of got the basic information, and this is kind of what that page looks like, then you'll be able to access the game resources. And the game resources are the most important part if you're playing a box and locks game. That's where you get the printouts that you're going to need. Now, the newest versions, they've been working really hard to try to encourage people to make sure that they put all of their printables into one file. So you just have to send one file to the printer. But some of them you do have to open the individual pieces in order to print them. The video tutorial is amazingly helpful, so you definitely want to read that. It really helps you get a grasp for it. And there's usually a file in, and all of these will have a Google Drive folder that will contain all of the files that you need to play the game. There's one file that will have the word game in it. If you're having trouble understanding something about the game, try clicking on that, and it'll usually explain it, because that's what the author of the game used to create the game. So there's a little bit more information there. You do want to make sure you watch the video first. That's going to really help give you an overview. Then you can go ahead and go through your setup instructions, reading them, referring to them, trying to figure out what all you need to set up. And then you want to watch that video again, because that's going to help you know like where to position things in your gym or classroom and so on. And once you have everything prepped, obviously, you give it a go. Sometimes you need to do things like take a piece of paper and put it into an envelope, and maybe you put the key into that envelope with it, so that when kids accomplish some task, you'll hand them that envelope. Sometimes it might be just pieces of paper that you need to hang up in the gym. Sometimes you'll use invisible ink, and use invisible ink and write something that's an important clue on one of the papers, and the kids will receive a black light or a little UV light that will allow them to read that at some point, and that usually is hidden in the small little 3-digit lockbox that is also included.
I found out that you can get a blacklight app on your phone, Yeah, on an Android
cool.
phone. I can't find one on my my iPhone, but on my Android, I have two phones, my work phone and then my personal phone. My work phone, which is my Android phone, yeah, I have a black light that was working. And I was also told if you wrote yellow or used yellow highlighter on a yellow paper, it has to be like a certain yellow color. You can't see it, and then you can use the black light to actually see it too.
Ooh, that's a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah, that was cool. That's the only thing I can contribute to this presentation.
Everyone loves a black light. I did a professional development this summer with a group of teachers, and everyone loves that aspect of it. No matter what age you are, there's something just cool about that. It feels spy-y or something like that. I don't know. It's fun.
Creating your own game, get creative. Go check out the website, the Breakout EDU website, and once you're there, you'll see, and you can actually click on this template. That'll help you walk through the whole process. But the first thing to do is go to the website, read through it, so that you can get information, background information on that will guide you through the whole process, and then you can get after that, starting to write your own game using that template. Digital breakouts. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a bit of a preference for this, just because I like working with or having the kids work in smaller groups. But there's a time and a place for both the box and locks, where you're working more with the bigger group. Although that can be a smaller group if you happen to have a lot of box and locks available to you, or working with the digital, as I said. But this will just give you some information about the digital breakouts. The nice thing about this is we're a Chromebook school, one-to-one school, so I can get kids down to 2 or 3 to a group and work on one student's Chromebook. There really is no additional equipment, although as I did share earlier, I still like to get that movement going with the kids. So I've tied in our digital breakouts with pedometer use. And as I also mentioned earlier, part of the clues that they gain is when the group has X number of steps, or when each player on a team has X number of steps, then I will give them the next clue. And one of the things we try to do with that is when the group is working on the puzzle, one person can take a little bit of time working on the puzzle while the other player or two are jogging around the gym. But then we always encourage them to flip out, so that another player can start working on that puzzle, and it's not just done by one person. It's obviously a great way to give it a try before you invest in all the equipment itself. And for more information, we've given you another link that you can go to. Finally, we've given you a link to a survey for us, just so that we can learn more, get more feedback from you, and make this better, obviously, as we move forward. And we also encourage you, please, to check out our CBHPE site. We just try to share everything that we come up with, and it's not just breakouts. We do have breakout information there too, but we're focusing on Chromebooks and making sure that no one ever has an excuse that they can't use technology in their class just because they don't have an iPad. So we share in class lessons and that sort of thing at all different levels. So please check all of that out. And finally, do we have anyone else? We had another. I just see someone else finish. Nice. Congratulations.
So there's been a couple questions that have been popping up.
Great.
So one of the questions was, everybody's typing stuff in right now and it keeps going up to the top. I believe one of the questions was, how do you decide how long it'll take your students to finish them?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You don't really know. I usually find, I try to write games so that they can be done in a class period, obviously. But you never really know until you actually have them try it. And I would say from my experience and my colleagues' experience, the people that I've played games with and talked to about playing games, a lot of times kids don't break out. They don't get finished in the amount of time that there is. But that's kind of okay, because then the next time they understand that the next time they try a breakout, that they're going to have to make sure they maybe, especially if you're doing the large group ones, that maybe they're going to have to split up the tasks in order to be able to accomplish it. They may not be able to all try to work on one particular puzzle at one time. That may not be the best way to try to accomplish the task.
The games that we've set up are in essence 30 minutes, and that's just based on our class period. My class periods are 40 minutes, so we try to gear it towards that, because you do have to have a certain amount of time to explain things before they get cranked up and going. But what I have noticed is, as you do more of these, they do learn from the past experience, and they do get quicker and a little, they figure things out a little bit faster, just because, oh, I experienced this already, I know what to do here.
Yes. When I did my first breakout, it was the digital one, and I had really no idea what I was doing. And so I'm like trying to figure this out, and I see this story, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just read it. And then I was like, oh, this looks like it's clickable. So I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, okay. I had to click on a whole bunch of tabs, and in the tabs, it had like a sentence with all the tabs that had popped up. And I was like, wow, that was really cool. So then basically I just kind of clicked on anything and everything. And there is one thing, because I think I did the pool one on the Breakout EDU website, the digital one. And then I was like, there's this pool, but it says the pool is closed, but there's somebody sitting in the pool. Maybe I just gave away a clue. But anyways, like I was just like, oh, that doesn't make any sense.
That was,
yeah. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So then I was like, oh, that person's clickable. So I clicked on the person. So, and once I had done that, then I had done one with my sister, because my sister's in Saskatchewan, Canada, because that's where I'm from originally. And we did like a little, hangout night where we were doing a breakout, and we were trying to we're doing a Google Hangout and having a conversation and kind of playing this game together. And since I had already done one prior to, I kind of knew what to do. And then once we got that one, then she was trying another one. She was getting it. So yes, the more you do, kind of the better it gets, and it's also more fun, because you kind of know where you're going with it, or at least you know the general things of what you're supposed to kind of look for, and it really helps out. But there was a question that said it was kind of hard to understand how this works if you haven't had a chance to experience it. So I'll let Mark, you and Becky maybe talk to that too. But for me, I think it's, maybe do like a family or a friend night, or even just an individual thing one night, where you go onto that Breakout EDU website, which I linked into the Tozzle, and try one of the easier ones, like a level 2 or level 3, and just go into it and just start playing with it and start clicking on things, and you'll really get that experience of what a breakout is.
Right.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. And but understand that, as Becky said earlier, it is supposed to be a struggle. Sometimes, as I said, I'm very guilty. When I first started the breakouts, I was too quick to help students out and actually give answers, or give way too generous clues. So you do want students to fight through it and show that grit, that they can work through a problem.
Mm-hmm. And Naomi, on that one that you couldn't figure out with the pool one, I just want to tell you, I had the same problem with that one, and I contacted a bunch of my super smart friends, and none of them could figure it out. And they were all like breakout people, so they all had done many breakouts. None of us could figure it out. I did that same game with about 40 groups of 4th graders, and only a couple groups needed help.
Yes, I know.
So,
adults think too much sometimes.
Okay, I don't know. I thought it was hard, but
yeah, well, and that's exactly it. I know, like, I was doing some of the things, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then, yeah, the kids get it, and they just get it like this. Because sometimes I'm thinking too much, where they're just like, oh, it's right there. Like that just makes sense, where I just get into it. So there's a couple people commenting on here too that they lost or they failed. And you know, I think the point of Breakout EDU isn't about winning or losing. It's about trying to have, you know, those 4 C's. What was it listed down? Collaborative, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. That's the purpose of Breakout EDU. It's not about winning or losing. It's about having that experience and being able to, you know, if you can work with your partner or even individual, but it's just getting you to think about things in a different way. And that's the fun part about it, I think. For me, at least. And the nice thing about this too is that once the session is over, which it will be in a few minutes here, you can continue playing this. You know, like you can continue to do it. Like try and figure it out. Send Becky and Mark an email and get some hints, right? There's no shame in asking for a hint. I mean, I actually went to, like, on some of those digital ones, there's the little hint things that you have to figure out, and I was Googling everything, and yeah, there's no shame in a hint. It's just a fun, once you break out, the feeling of breaking out is just like, you're like, yes, I'm on top of the world. So
trying to figure out a lock. All right. I got that one. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Do we have a third?
All right.
team?
Yeah, we have third. We have three teams broke
That's
out, which
awesome.
is really awesome. I didn't know if anybody was going to be able to in the time that we had. So that's really terrific. And if any of you guys who haven't gotten any locks yet or haven't gotten, you know, a particular lock, please shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to give you a hint and get you moving on it, and hopefully.
Oh, we just had another one.
Woo! Oh, cool! Awesome.
Awesome! There you go. Everybody's just like, yes, we're getting it now. We're getting it.
And no matter what, it's always very hard the first time you ever experience it because you just have no concept of it. But what I've come to realize is the very best way to learn about Breakout is just to try one.
Yes.
And while it is sometimes a little bit frustrating because you just don't really understand what you're supposed to do, it is the way to just do it. You just have to jump in. It's kind of like swimming. Just jump in and give it a go and see what happens.
Flail those arms.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But it really does. It really is a cool opportunity for kids. And I know we have to go, but I just wanted to mention in that video, the young lady who said, you know, I've been looking forward to this all day. And that's just the way the kids are. When they know they're going to get to do a breakout, they can't wait for it. I mean, they absolutely love it, even though it is hard and sometimes frustrating. They want to do those kinds of challenges.
Well, we know you got to get going too, Naomi. So thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you.
This was awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving the game a go.
Yeah, thank you so much for creating this. And I know you put a lot of time into making this happen and practicing. And I know Amy was working with you to try it out and test it out. And to be able to do all those things like pair up and things like that and the spreadsheets that they've created, it's not an easy task, trust me. So what Mark and Becky have done to prepare and prep for this Phys Ed Summit and create this digital global breakout is really kind of remarkable. So I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you've put into doing this. I know I'm going to go back because I haven't had a chance to go and try it. I'm going to go back and try it myself and see if I can figure it out. Because I know somebody had asked, you do this on your own? Absolutely. You know, it's just nice and easy. It's more fun when you can bounce ideas off of somebody else. So maybe I'll do a date night with Adam sometime and be like, all right, Breakout EDU time. Or we'll do a challenge where we'll both try and get it answered ourselves.
And I also want to mention those people who maybe were struggling a little bit, you know, this was definitely a harder way to do it when you're not physically sitting there able to talk with people. So that created a completely different aspect of difficulty that you don't have in a normal breakout game.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, we just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining in and participating. Remember, you can go in and check this out later on. Mark and Becky, definitely check out the Tozzle. I know there's a couple more questions in there, so feel free to jump in and answer those questions. And just for everybody, we'd love to hear your reflection on Flipgrid. So check that out. You can share your thoughts. It's just if you scroll down on the Tozzle a little bit, I'm looking at it right now. It says Flipgrid Reflection. You can leave a 90-second reflection that will allow you to kind of share, you know, how will your students benefit from you participating in the session? What have you learned from it? What can you take back to your classes? So I know there's a lot of people sharing here too. Yes, I can't wait to try. So we want to hear about that from you. And once you submit a Flipgrid, you will get your name submitted in for our raffle prize to win one of two. Flipgrid subscriptions, yearly subscriptions. So thank you so much, everybody, for participating. And we'll take off here and hope you can jump in for the rest of the sessions today.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.